There is a vast difference between being feared and being hated. And if you don't know how to walk this fine line, you risk falling into one of the two extremes that destroy any power relationship: passivity that invites abuse, or tyranny that generates revolt. True authority lies in balance. And believe me, it is an art that few master. Being feared does not mean being aggressive. It does not mean being violent, shouting, humiliating, or controlling through constant fear. That is not respect. It is terror. And terror always has an expiration date. Sooner or later, it turns against those who imposed it. Machiavelli knew this. He wrote that a ruler must avoid being hated at all costs, because hatred is a silent poison. People can endure fear, but they cannot endure humiliation for long. So the secret lies here. You need to be respected to the point that people do not dare to cross the boundaries you set. But you also need to be fair enough that they do not wish to bring you down behind your back. How does this apply to you? It means acting with clarity, with posture, with coherence. You need to make people understand, without needing to explain, that there is a price for disrespect, that your words carry weight, that your absence is felt, that your presence is not something to be taken for granted. This is not built overnight. It starts with small gestures, saying no firmly, stepping away from toxic conversations without justifying yourself, not repeating explanations to those who have already understood. But insist on testing your limits. It is about claiming your emotional space and making it clear through actions that you will not be shaped by the will of others. Psychology proves it. People who exercise authority silently, without resorting to direct confrontation, generate more respect in the long run. It is the so-called latent power, the kind that is present even when not exercised. The type of power that makes others think twice before acting, not because you intimidate them, but because they know you do not tolerate disrespect. And that is the key to being feared without being hated, showing that you are in control, not of others, but of yourself. Those who master their emotions, their reactions, and their limits with serenity and firmness command more respect than any shout or threat. But what if that is not enough? What if, even trying to assert yourself, you still feel that you are being tested, used, or ignored? This is where we enter the most sensitive territory of all, the psychological, the internal space where patterns of submission, fear of confrontation, and difficulty in establishing real boundaries are born. In the next part, we will dive even deeper. We will explore how your mind and your emotional history may be preventing you from being respected, and more importantly, how to break this cycle and start building a new identity, stronger, clearer, and unshakable. If what you're hearing resonates with you, you'll find real value in my ebook, Beyond the Shadow. It breaks down Jung's core ideas and gives you tools to understand yourself more deeply. Link is in the pinned comment. Now that you understand the importance of being respected, being firm, and inspiring the right amount of fear, it's time to look within. Because it's not enough to just comprehend all of this intellectually. If, deep down, you still fear bothering others, disappointing them, or being rejected for asserting yourself, the root of the problem lies within you. And that's where true transformation resides. Many people carry, since childhood, the conditioning to please in order to survive. People who were taught, even if subtly, that they would only be loved if they were nice. Who learned that saying no was synonymous with selfishness, that contradicting was impolite, and that disagreeing was a reason for emotional punishment. And the result? Adults who bend over backwards to please, who silence themselves to keep the peace, who accept less than they deserve because they think setting boundaries is a way to lose love. This is psychological poison, an unconscious script that turns you into an emotional slave. And the worst part? The more you repeat this pattern, the more it becomes entrenched. With every yes you say, when you want to say no, you send the world the message that your will doesn't matter. Each time you avoid conflict, you allow injustice to grow. With every person you forgive without the other feeling remorse, you validate the abuse. What needs to be clear is that respect starts within you. There is no external authority without internal firmness. You will not inspire respect if you do not respect yourself. You will not set boundaries if you do not believe you deserve to be protected. And no one will take you seriously if you constantly doubt your own worth. The construction of this new identity begins with small decisions, starting to observe where you silence yourself out of fear. In what situations do you diminish yourself to fit in? With whom do you feel obligated to be someone you are not? One by one, these situations need to be dismantled, not with anger, with strategy, with presence, with truth. You will notice that as you begin to assert yourself, some people will be bothered. They will call you rude, cold, arrogant. But this is not about you. It's about them not knowing how to control you anymore. Every change in posture destabilizes those who fed off your passivity. And yes, you will lose people along the way. But believe me, it is liberating to lose those who only knew how to exploit you. When you align with your internal truth, the external world responds. People who once ignored you start to listen. Relationships that once drained you either dissolve or transform. You stop begging for love and start attracting respect, because now you are no longer overly accessible. And what is not easy to have always generates more value. But even with all this, there is still a missing piece. Something that ties together everything we've discussed so far. You have understood the psychology, the philosophy, the behavior. But you still need to answer the final question. How to balance this new strength without becoming what you detest the most. How to maintain lucidity, respect, and integrity, even while commanding with firmness. That is what we will explore now. There comes a time when you need to make a decision. Either you keep trying to please the world, hoping that people will finally see your worth, or you stop begging for emotional crumbs and start behaving like someone who deserves respect. Because the truth is simple, but brutal. No one will give you what you don't demand for yourself. You don't need to become cold. You don't need to turn into a tyrant. But you need to learn to stand up for yourself, to raise boundaries like invisible walls, to look into the eyes of those who try to manipulate you and maintain the firm silence that says, "Not with me, not anymore." That is true strength, the kind that doesn't need to shout, that doesn't show off, but that is felt in the air, in your posture, in your gaze. And this strength begins the moment you stop trying to be loved and start demanding to be respected. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He saw that people's love is fickle, conditional, full of hidden interests. But respect, when well built, lasts. It sustains itself, it protects, and that is what you need to seek. Not the acceptance of others, but your own inner sovereignty. From the moment you understand that being good is not enough, that your kindness needs a sword and shield, everything changes. You don't become a bitter person. You become a whole person. Someone who gives because they want to, not because they are afraid of losing. Someone who loves deeply, but does not accept being used. Someone who forgives, but does not forget. Someone who knows how to withdraw at the exact moment, and who, for that reason, is never underestimated again. And now I want to know from you, in what area of your life do you feel you need to start asserting yourself? Work, family, relationships? Write in the comments. Your answer can create space for others to reflect as well. Change begins when we acknowledge where we are being weak. And if this message resonated with you, if any part of this video hit you like a real punch, then you need to keep going. The next video is just as important as this one. Don't skip it. Don't put it off, because understanding the psychology of respect is just the beginning. The journey is only starting.